was it apparent to you that you would be moving forward?
You come off the practice field and there's no communication.
Nico was garbage this year. This Nico NIL situation that went from a holdout to a full-blown transfer out of Tennessee is only getting stranger. Now we have rumors of Dan Lanning snitching on him. We have Josh Heupel's official comments on it. He's going to reveal why the final straw that broke the camel's back to just go ahead and move on from Nico, because apparently this was something that had been going on for a long time. And then finally, we're going to go over the reaction over the internet, because it's been quite strong, and we're gonna gauge to see, I mean, is he right? Is it the play versus the game thing? I don't know, man, but I do know if you enjoy transfer portal videos, NIL, college football, everything else in between, man, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you want to stay locked in. The portal opens up this week and it's already getting nasty. So starting right off the bat, we're gonna go really quickly. There has been a bit of a conundrum here where it seems that reports are surfacing that Dan Lanning was the coach who initially contacted Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel and let him know that Nico was sniffing around for a deal. This apparently happened in the original transfer portal. This happened back in fall. He was apparently looking for money. So it's interesting coming from Dan Lanning. I mean, he's a big proponent of NIL and a big proponent of the transfer portal. So that's super interesting to see. But at the end of the day, that is what it is. And we're going to get deeper into this whole situation, but I think nothing really matters until we hear from the head coach. So here is the official announcement here. And then we have a few more following videos. We got Mario Cristobal, and then we're going to close it out with Tom Brady before we go into more detail here.
Here in a second, so I'll address it on the front end. Today's landscape of college football is different than what it has been. It's unfortunate, just the situation and where we're at with Nico. I want to thank him for everything that he's done since he's gotten here. That's as a recruit to who he was as a player, and how he competed inside of the building. And so a great appreciation for that side of it. Obviously, we're moving forward as a program without him. I said it to the guys today. There's no one that's bigger than the power T, and that includes me. And they hear me say that a lot inside of that team room. This program has been around for a long time with a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players that came before that laid the cornerstone pieces, the legacy, the tradition that is Tennessee football. It's going to be around a long time after I'm done and after they're gone. And that's what's special about being here, is that there is a legacy and a tradition that is so rich, and a logo that's recognized not just across the nation but across the world too. And today you got a chance to see 110 guys that ran out and competed their butts off, that give their all for Tennessee and do it the right way. And really proud of the spring that they've had, but also how they culminated it as well. So excited about where we're at this point.
Those were, again, his first comments, and here he is kind of expressing the straw that broke the camel's back on why why they moved on from Nico.
When was it apparent to you that you would be moving forward?
Friday morning, when he's a no-show, you come off the practice field and there's no communication.
Oh, and that is, and I will stop for a second just to kind of comment on that, because Josh Heupel, he's doing his job as a head coach, not revealing too much, but I think he revealed something major right there, and that's something that I think that, for me, I'm gonna end up defending Nico. I'm gonna let y'all know. So if y'all want to, click off now, comment down below why I shouldn't defend Nico. Go ahead. But before I do that, I want to kind of address this, because what he's clearly saying is that this was an issue. This was a tension-filled moment, right? This was something that was, like we talked about in the last video with the other comments, this was something that was affecting the locker room clearly, or at least affecting that relationship with head coaches, because he says you come off the practice field and there's no communication, and he makes this like gesture, like, and I think that, coaches speak without speaking. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand what coaches are saying, and clearly what he was saying was that Nico himself was coming off the practice field and not talking and acting a little strange and acting a little wonky. And I have to say that whether that is from the influence of his family or his agency or whoever was in his ear saying these things, or maybe he himself felt, rightfully wrong, that's where that this is this is bigger than just regular NIL situation, right? And I think that a lot of people are waking up to see that, but I think also people are realizing and seeing that this is something that could easily be, replicatable. This tension that's coming along with the perceived value of these young gentlemen. So now that we've heard Josh Heupel, let's hear from some coaches around the league. You know what I'm saying? Here, I might as well call it a league. Here's Mario Cristobal.
We're not going to do that at Miami. And I say that without any hesitation. If anyone's thinking that, then they could be the best player in the world. If they want to play holdout, they might as well play get out. We don't want to do that. We don't want Miami to become that. Too many guys have sweated, bled, have laid on the line on that field to ever become that kind of a program.
And here's my problem with the coaches saying this, because I appreciate them saying it, but and we're gonna get deeper into it when we get into the reaction. Y'all can't just say that and say, oh well, we're just not gonna retaliate. We're not gonna take holdouts. Well, that's the nature of the game. Without the NCAA implementing its rules, someone's gonna feel slighted. Somebody's going to feel like they're bigger than the program, and this is not going to be the last situation. I don't even think this is going to be the last situation that arises this spring. Now, he might be the only person to make this big fuss about it, but when that transfer portal opens up, boy, and it's going to be open up for a second, you're going to be surprised by that. We do this for the last 3-4 years. Y'all get surprised on who's in that portal. Don't be. Please don't be. So let's hear from an NFL great, a Tennessee great, and an all-around great person, Eric Berry, on the NIL landscape. Now, I might disagree, but I also might agree. And then after that, we're going to go Tom Brady. And then we're going to actually get into the spring practice because obviously, new quarterback up. Let's see how the Vols fans are taking the situation there. So let's hear from Eric Berry first.
I want to ask you, the game continues to change. Now, all of a sudden, Eric, it's the business of college football. We're seeing what's going on with Nico, the quarterback. Is it hurting college football, man?
To be honest with you, I wouldn't trade my college experience for anything. And I talk to my dad about this all the time, like being with my teammates and my brothers and trying to figure out how we're going to make $96 stretch every month. Like, that's a part of the bond we created, right. And I think with the guys today, I think they just, regardless if they transfer, go to the transfer portal or want to go to see another opportunity, if you don't commit to the opportunity within yourself and take full advantage of it, it really doesn't really matter what team or what school you go to or however much money they give you.
Eric Berry going into the UT Athletics Hall of Fame. Well-deserved indeed, my friend.
Thank you.
Great to
and I think Eric Berry says some very positive things and some things that I don't like, right? I appreciate the thought process of, look, the camaraderie that you build when you're going through tough situations like that. I mean, that's just proven, right? That's going to double up, and having to grind that out and do those things is very important. But at the same time, Eric Berry, you had cancer, dog. Like and I don't say that in jest. I don't say that to joke. I'm saying that imagine, and I know he was already in the NFL, had the big money, but just imagine if he had even more money, right? Imagine if he had even more access. Imagine if there was ways to avoid and better find that. Now, praise God that, or praise whoever you believe or whoever you know what I'm saying, or praise science, everything else in between, that Eric Berry was able to recover and play NFL football because he is a marvel of a human being regardless, like just point blank period, right? But like, I say that to say that you are going to struggle no matter what. Right. And in this world, it's a tough world out here, man. It's a tough world. And if you're playing football and you know that you only have now with the years, the over years, it's like six years you can play college football. But realistically, 4 years, that window that you have to play this game. And some people make it to the NFL and then still get disrespected. Some people make it to the NFL and don't get the chance. Some people make it to the NFL and they just flame out. But they were some of the greatest in college. And that's one of my biggest issues and why I'm such a pro NFL guy is that, Eric Berry, you didn't need to be stretching $96 for that. I heard Fred Taylor was getting bags dropped off at Georgia. Like, and I'm not saying Eric Berry's dumb. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not even saying XYZ, but I'm saying that Eric Berry is going to go through heartaches. This was a part of the heartache, and I think it's a great thing to add, but we can't just want younger people to struggle for just the fact of struggle, right? Now, what he did say about the commitment part, I cannot agree anymore. The only way that the money part works is that either if A, someone's enforcing rules, NCAA, or B, these kids actually believe what's being sold to them by coaches. Now, the problem that we keep leaving out is that these coaches do sell dreams. These coaches can bounce around. These coaches, I don't know, can pull a Lane Kiffin. You never know. You never know. But regardless, Eric Berry, I think he's completely right when he talks about the camaraderie that's built there. But again, if Eric Berry had even more resources in college, I'm sure things would have been a lot better, would have been a lot easier. But to his point, maybe he doesn't have the same mindset. Maybe when he does get his diagnosis and he has to deal with something, maybe he isn't strong enough. So I think there's arguments on both sides, and I feel like at least I'm a younger guy, so maybe I could be wrong there. But as a phenomenal person as he is, as the great things that he's done, I feel like he deserves to get paid for those things. I think about people like Cam Newton's like the biggest one that I do, and then we're gonna go into Tom Brady, let him talk about it, but. People talk about Cam Newton like he's some bum. Like he's some bum. Now I know other people, if around my age, I was literally Superman. People were literally wearing his cleats. I played football in that era, and like that was like the coolest shit ever to have Cam Newton cleats. But besides the point, right? The way that people, he's a failure, he's this, he didn't drop on the ball, he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring, yeah, he only had a few dominant years. It's like people just negate the Heisman, the national championship, taking Auburn on this whimsical, amazing ride, beating a powerhouse of a team in Oregon. Like, do not forsake the athletic greats and the athletic feats that are done at the college level. I feel like that's a disrespect. That's a disrespect. College isn't just a feeder league. It's where amazing things and phenomenal storylines happen. So I think that these people who are risking their athletic longevity, their athletic life, they can go play baseball now. Hey, you can go play baseball and go a little longer as long as you get a pitcher, right? But no, they're smashing their heads against each other. I think we could put some money in their pocket, but even more so, I think the NCAA needs to step up. Let's hear what the GOAT has to say.
There used to be college programs. Now there are college teams. You're no longer learning a program, you're learning a playbook. And the program is ultimately, like at Michigan, for me, that was a pro-style program. 5 years, I got to learn how to drop back pass, to read defenses, to read coverages, to be coached. I had to learn from being 7th quarterback on the depth chart to moving up to 3rd to ultimately being a starter. I had to learn all those things in college. That was development. Then I went to New England, and I was developed by Coach Belichick and the offensive staff there. I didn't start my first year. I think it's just a tragedy that we're forcing these rookies to play early. But the reality is the only reason why they are is because we dumbed the game down, which has allowed them to play. It used to be thought of at a higher level. We used to spend hours and hours in the offseason and training camp trying to be a little bit better than next year. But I think what happens is discourages the coaches from going to deep levels because they realize the players don't have the opportunity to go to a deep level, so they're just going to teach them where they're at.
And I think that makes some great points here. And to before I go there, because I think it segues in a great point. Brian Kelly, because everybody asked Brian Kelly's opinion. His opinion on the NIL, and apparently that's an I messed up. Negotiation departure from Tennessee. I think that we're going to see lots of this. So hey, broke clocks are right at least twice a day. And before we go deeper into the spring practice, I'm probably going to have this playing while some of those interviews were going as well. But before we do that, I do want to read this little snippet from Front Office Sports about it and kind of hop right into it about the agents and different things of that nature. But one thing I want to talk about, the dumbing down of the offense. I talked to y'all about Jackson Dart in that Ole Miss offense. That is a true RPO offense. The Tennessee offense, Josh Heupel's, is even more gimmicky. Super wide spreads that aren't even allowed in the NFL. He's not taking any true dropbacks. Go watch the game film. Nico is not, and you didn't see it because I probably had something covering it, but in that Eric Berry clip, they're showing him in practice, and he's taking one step and throwing. That's it. It's one read, throw. That's it. So when you talk about developing a quarterback, they're not doing that either. So we're going to go deeper into that when we get into the reaction, but I just feel like us being just mad on one side doesn't make any sense. So to read these up, right, seen a lot of people blame the agents in the Nico Tennessee situation. The truth, question mark, is if he had a pro agent instead of a dad and friend, this probably gets handled quietly in December. Instead, it's a mess, and Nico is now looking for a real agent. In the aftermath of the Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava in the Volunteers, did I get that right? I probably didn't. I'm so sorry. A program parting ways due to NIL dispute. Most of college football world is siding with the school, not the player. It's the state of college football, Tennessee coach Josh Heupel said. Most coaches who waited on the situation over the weekend expressed similar sentiments. And we already kind of talked about that. Fox's #1 college football TV analyst Joe Klett called the Tennessee wild and yet totally predictable. Of course, this was going to happen when there are no guardrails and rules to govern the business and movement of the sports. You may not like what Nico is doing, but it's certainly his right. ESPN Adam Rittenberg wrote, the disruptiveness of moves like Nico's, when it happened, how many people and teams it could impact, should be an inflection point for college football. But people won't be. We'll get another set of complaints, pleas to Congress, and nothing will change. Rinse and repeat. Iamaleava will be able to enter the transfer portal when it opens Wednesday for 10 days, but he won't be able to sign with an SEC team since the conference has a February 1st transfer deadline to be eligible for fall sports. So this graph is hilarious, or this graphic is hilarious. And I want to go deeper into the reaction because I curated some not so mean reactions because, to be honest with you, everybody was slamming on this kid. And can we be honest for a second? Because I make a lot of NIL videos. I make a lot of transfer portal videos. And if you know and you've been watching these videos, I appreciate y'all who do watch and support. Y'all know that I am hard on the system more than I am hard on the kid. I want it to be known that, and it's clear to be known that it's not the kid that is ultimately making this decision. It's the parents, it's the agents, it's the other people who are hovering around what they look as to be a 6'6" money pool in Mr. Nico. You know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't. It's wrong that all the, and I can't even show you because again, it's slurs, it's, you know, crazy words, it's arcisms, it's, I can't even show it on YouTube, but they're putting him through the ringer. And to be honest with you, it's about the same of what a kicker gets when he misses a kick. So I will be fair there. I will be fair there. But my issue is not that we're criticizing Nico, because I think Nico does deserve criticism. I think these moves, as they get paid, they need to also face some scrutiny. But when it crosses certain lines, it's just nasty, right? Here's the deal. I'm not sure how much of a role Nico himself played in all of this. By all accounts, seems to be a good, quiet kid who just wanted to play ball. However, that doesn't mean that his advisors around him weren't playing the allowed field on his behalf. No clear short-term winners in this situation, but Coach Heupel, principle ahead, pure leadership. And these are a lot more, again, more measured, these are more reactions that kind of take a look at the full, idea of what this really implies for the state of college football, which is terrible, but also the fact that I hate when we do this. I hate when we take these good men, good young gentlemen, right, and try to make them seem like awful people because they do what businessmen do. They do what any other person. Now, there is a conversation to be had. Let's put a pin in this before I defend Nico too much. Nico was garbage this year. I had such high expectations for him, but he was in an offense, Josh Heupel, which was not. It just wasn't rated to be a true throwing system. It's a vertical system that it relies on one read RPOs. It's not. He's not doing any real reading. He's not doing any real football play. And on top of that, he wasn't very comfortable in that situation either. It didn't look like he was comfortable having to just take one step or just do an RPO. It was a running offense. Go look at the statistics. I mean, we were watching it the whole year, but the Tennessee was ranked the 1st through the 5th top rushing offense, and specifically number 1 in the SEC throughout the season. They were a high-powered offense going crazy, doing it all on the ground. Samson or Simpson, I forgot which one it is, but that dude's a dog. Both of them are a dog. He was doing a bunch of handoffs and missing wide open wide receivers. I don't know if that was a timing thing. I don't know if that was a comfortability thing, but the stats say that he was hot garbage, especially not ungarbage enough to be asking for what he was asking for. So before I defend him, let's put a caveat here. I don't think this was a good job at him securing funds, but that goes to my other point. I'm going to leave this here in the background. This is how nasty it's getting, right? This is probably the nicest of what they're saying. He's a nice kid. No problems off the field. None of this other stuff. Now, On the field, you could have been better, Nico. I gotta be honest with you. I thought you were quite underwhelming. But again, when we go to the fact that it's probably not him that's going and asking for this money, it's the advisor saying, hey, Nico, sorry, you got to sit it out. They're in his ear saying, hey, Nico, Coach Heupel, he doesn't value you like that, dog. There's no value in here. He think you worth nothing, dog. Probably why he's not talking to him again. But at the end of the day, what I want to make sure that we get across is that we need to look at the NCAA. The NCAA's and their negligence and inability to enforce their rules are the reason why advisors and different people can put Nico in this situation. Now, God forbid he has a negative outlook on social media, a negative outlook on people perceive him, all because he did something that business people do. Now, probably was the best business practice, right? But to be called anything else but a child of God, although he's done nothing outside of missing wide receivers, is kind of nasty. Hate the player, hate the game, or however they say it, man. The NCAA's got to get this in order. But y'all comment down below. Let me know how y'all feel. If y'all want more updates, let me know. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you want to stay locked in with college football content. We'll see you next time, man. You're great, man. Please be great. And on a side note, I'm not making a video about this. I've made videos about Kyron Lacey. Rest in peace. I think that there is a time and place to do those types of things. Maybe we'll make a video next year when the dust is settled and there's a story to be told. But currently, there's a family that is hurting deeply from a young man who's probably going through a whirlwind of situation, going through adversity that's probably the likes they've never seen. Whether we believe or know or understand that there were mistakes that are being made and grave mistakes that he did make, it does not mean the action that he took is the one, and I don't think that's ever the right situation. So please check on your people. If you think someone's going through a hard time, give them a call, give them a text, and just be there for your people, because you never want to see what happens there. But hey, man, I know you're great. I know you'll do it. So please be blessed. Please be great. We'll see you next time. Peace.